Today we have Stormcast versus Ogors playing ours for the taking, as this is the map deployment right now with the Ogors on over there, Stormcast here. The mission has more points scoring the other person's objectives, and we'll see how things go, as Stormcast are pretty tabled up on over here. They were able to deploy first, so they'll be able to get to choose who will go first. Just want to shout out again to my buddy Peter for letting me borrow his Ogors. Rock Hard Hooves was just within 2 inches of Gardas, threw everything at him. 8 wounds into Gardas on 5s. He needs to make at least 3 of these, or he's dead. 1, 2, 3 at least. There we go. He's got 1 wound remaining. End of turn 1 for the Ogres. Stormcast decided to give them first turn because they didn't want the double. Of course, maybe that was a bad idea, as they were pretty much decimated on this flank. Ogres came on in. They chose gaining momentum for their battle tactic, trying to kill that Liberator squad that is now dead. They did call to aid and brought them back. Stormcast did for their one-time use there. Ogres end up gaining all of the objectives and killing that unit. They ended up with 6 points. And we're going to go into Stormcast and see what's going on there for them. End of Stormcast, turn 1. They chose Eye for an Eye, and were not able to get it. Gardas blew a Saintly Assault, getting rerolls charges, and if that Storm Drake was able to get in, it would have been able to give him +1 to his attacks. Unfortunately, that was not the case. These guys came on in, the Retributors. They were only able to do 10 wounds to the Mournfang Pack, whiffing on their wounds, and dropping like 5 of them. They were also roared, so they couldn't do all-out attack either, and whatnot. So that did not go well for them. They were able to whittle this Frostlord down a little bit. The Huskard. He's a Huskard. Able to whittle him down for a little bit. And they also retreated Gardas so that he could probably stay alive, and teleported those guys on over there for 2 points. That's all they've got so far. We'll see what happens with the priority roll. Stormcast get to stay in the game and able to choose to go first on this turn. End of Stormcast turn 2. They chose gaining momentum and chose the Huskard that was there. That is no longer there as the enemy to get. They ended up getting it with gaining that point on over there and keeping that one over there. Some things came down. Prime came down, charged on into here. He was able to make a bunch of saves, so he only was able to take 3 damage, and then the Prime was able to save his as well, and was only dealt 1 damage there. The Huskard died to these guys shooting, as well as mortal wounds from the lightning storm. The Mournfang Pack died to the Retributors, and the Huskard that was over here was dealt about 6 wounds from the shooting attack of the Drake, and when the Drake charged on in, he only had 12 wounds left. The Storm Drake whiffed on pretty much everything except for the tail, and in the end, he had 8 wounds, 8 saves to make, and was able to make 5 of them, having 3 wounds go on over, killing the Beastriders on over here over by 1. Getting some room to breathe, the Stormcast seemed to be having a better end, and we're going to go on over into Ogres turn 2. Ogres turn 2 decided to go for Eye for an Eye, figuring maybe they could get the Prime. Unfortunately, they were not able to, but they were thinking that the Liberators over here would die to these Mournfang. Unfortunately, that did not happen. They were able to cast Greasy Deluge, I think, on the Prime. I think that's what the name of it is, as well as the one to give +1 to the monster damage onto the Frostlord. Charges over here did not go well. They only had 1 CP, so they decided not to re-roll it and just go ahead and get the 4 inches in. Unfortunately, that left 2 of the Mournfang after they piled on in, just 1 inch, a little more than 1 inch away from them, so they weren't able to get the other 8 mount attacks into that unit. They decided to attack on over here first, getting that prime down a little bit further. Unfortunately, though, when the Stormcast decided to go on over here, they chose not to pile in and just attack with the 2 guys on the ends, giving that so that when they were able to pile in, they were just shy of that 1 attack for the mounts, or the 2 guys for the mounts. With that, though, they failed their battle tactic, but they do gain 2 from having a Galician veteran or Galician champion within 6 inches of the middle objective here, as well as 1 from over there. So Ogors are still up, but we'll see how the priority goes. Priority roll for turn 3. Oh, Ogors get to now double turn. Ogors, turn 3. They chose Cunning Manoeuvre, having that guy be within range of that objective. The Frostlord was able to finally destroy the Prime just by 2 the wound. He's just barely able to get him, but he was able to do it. And the Mournfang Pack over there, the Liberator Squad actually was able to do quite a few wounds, killing 1 of them. And then as they died, 2 of them actually rolled and was able to attack again, killing another one actually. The leader was actually able to use his 2-handed weapon and dealt 4 wounds to 1 of them. So that was pretty dope. Normally that never works for me. With that, we're gonna go into Stormcast turn 3. End of turn 3 for Stormcast. They decided to go with Desecrate their lands, as it was going to be a guaranteed 1. They teleported them on over there, was able to get that battle tactic done. They decided to go ahead and shoot everything into that Frostlord. Ended up dealing just enough to get him down to 2 wounds remaining, but when the dragon moved on up, he also redeployed 6 inches back, making that a 12-inch charge. Was not able to charge in, and Stormcast only hold this objective on over here right now. We're gonna go into priority, see what's gonna happen next. Priority roll. We'll see who. Ogors still get to keep it. Rally for Ogors on 6s? What? Maybe those yellow dice aren't as bad as I thought. Here's a big monster fight in the ruins. The Frostlord's attacks into the Storm Drake. He dealt a lot of wounds. I forgot what he was at originally, 5, I think. So he dealt 9 wounds to him, and he only has 4 wounds remaining. He did save, with the saves that he made, 2 of them were 6s, and almost killing the Frostlord just in the mortals reflected back. We're gonna see how the Storm Drake handles. The Storm Drake with the -1 to attacks and -1 to wound was still able to finish the Frostlord off. End of turn 4 for Ogors. They chose Desecrate their lands, as that pond is just within the deployment here, and they were able to get it with those guys, who they were able to rally 2 of them. Frostlord decided to go for broke, charge on in, only dealt 5 wounds on the 10-inch charge. 4 wounds on a 10-inch charge. So he was hoping to pop off more on that one. And then the Storm Drake was not roared and all-out defensed with his Mystic Shield, able to give him a pretty good save stack there. Still wounded him down all the way, giving him 14 wounds total taken. But he was able to He perished to the rebuttal. We'll see how Stormcast fare with turn 4. Turn 4 for Stormcast. Moved up, ran up a bunch of guys, teleported their hero for the Cunning Manoeuvre. Able to get that. The Ogors redeployed 2 inches back that way. All those archers shot at him anyway, dealing 5 wounds to him, almost killing him. He rolled 2 6s for a save, ended up living. Storm Drake cast his 2 shots at them. 1 went through, dealing 2 wounds, and that's about it. Otherwise, they kind of moved on all over. This guy ran on over here because he's worried about Tunnel Master from him. But besides that, we are going to go into priority roll. Priority roll, as it is going to be a tie. Ogres get to decide. Ogres decided to take it because they still had Tunnel Master, so they were able to move him on over there. For battle tactics, they didn't really have much, so they decided to do Eat Your Fill, hoping for a 9-inch charge over here. With the reroll, they failed it, obviously. They did charge these guys on into here. They are still eating, so their leadership, I think, is 9. After losing 3, they would pass automatically anyway. They lost 2 from these guys as they dealt 10 wounds, and the Storm Drake was actually able to do another 8, even with his degraded state. Leaving him with just 1 more guy remaining. With that, Ogres gained 2 points from over here and 1 from the objective over there. They do not get their Eat Their Fill, but they do gain 3 points. Hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s. Here's the wound roll. So, the Mournfang only have 1 4-up save, and they'll deny a battle tactic. And they've denied the battle tactic. Turn 5 for Stormcast. They decided to go with This One's Mine, where their general had to go ahead and kill that 1 remaining Mournfang. The Lord Celestin on Star Drake decided to do a cheeky Arcane Bolt, hoping to not deal 3 wounds. He ended up dealing 2. Mournfang had 1 wound remaining. Lord Relictor with 4 attacks, hitting on 2s, wounding on 2s with a -1, so the Mournfang would have a 4-up save. Ended up whiffing his wounds, and the Mournfang survived, causing them to lose their battle tactic. They still do gain this objective here, though. That objective with a Gleecian Champion for another 2, and that one over there from the cheeky teleport. Translocate for 5 points total. The Stormcast end up getting their grand strategy of Lone Survivor, having him contest an objective wholly outside their deployment. At the end of the battle, gaining them another 3, putting them to 23 points in total. Ogres at 22. Very close game. Ogre's grand strategy was take what's theirs, had to contest both that objective and that objective. That wasn't going to be happening on turn 5. They kind of knew it. That's why they charged those Mournfang in. But very close game, almost lost on the Stormcast. Turn 2, or turn 1, really. But, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed.